And welcome back to the Ghost and Friends YouTube channel. Sorry, I was trying to get a message out about this because I'm pretty excited for what's going down here tonight. Welcome, Mr. John, Tweet Sports, Miss Avery Barham. How we doing, guys?
I've been better, Ghost. I've been better, but I'm glad to be here with you and Avery. We're going to have a good time.
Yeah. Repeat what he said. Yeah.
Confirmed. Get the old ditto right there. Joshy already with a comment. I see this. You have a link in your inbox to join this show. Don't be too unbearable, but come on if you want to. We had a late cancellation. There it is. But so back in October, literally 2 days after my birthday, I on this channel settled a bet with John where I don't know, what do we call the dogs? We did something where
it's called Calling the Dogs. Yeah,
it was called. We called the dogs. That's what we did, and I gave a lot of effort, a lot of heart, but there was definitely a part of me that was like, we got to get John back for this down the line. So yeah, Texas baseball sweeps Georgia. We obviously made another little, I think, same wager, Calling the Dogs versus Isaac, Texas. We have not been able to get John back on, not because he has been running or scared or anything. It's more my fault than his, much more my fault than his. And then you have not missed anything, Nash. American Idol tryouts confirmed tonight. You've not missed anything.
Lounge, we really get lounge singing in here. God, anyway.
Sorry. I feel like that would be a blessing. Guitar lounge, come on in, crack a cold one. We need you here, brother. But John, I feel like your Texas baseball wound is probably, it's healed over by now. Dogs have played a lot of baseball since coming to Austin. Maybe outside of this, or no?
No series loss in the SEC is ever fully healed. So it's kind of like, no, I won't go there. I was just going to mention, you have those, you have like relationships in your life. You have things in your life that's like, yeah, I'm over it. But like, am I really over it? Do you ever really get over it? No.
I haven't gotten over October 19th or the other game in December. I think about them. And then Miss Avery, we made, and this is on me, I put her on the spot last week. I said, hey, no prep, no, hey, do you want to maybe do this? Just called her out live on the show and said, hey, let's get into it. And so whatever Aggie song versus whatever Texas song, we're keeping it simple and classic with the eyes of Texas. She was like, give me your worst. And I think that holding up the horns real high and proud and singing the eyes of Texas is it's pretty strong. So she's worried about her credibility being shot after this. I think it'll gain a lot of respect, especially amongst us Burnt Orange folks. And seeing how you are singing our song, sorry, I'm dragging this out as long as I can to get as many people in here for this as I can. Even put you guys in Burnt Orange tonight with your, your names in the font and everything. Just tribute, because I know that you're about to show a lot of Burnt Orange pride. What you're wearing doesn't matter. It's about what comes from the heart, and we know what's about to come because you told me you're not.
Oh, go for it. Sorry.
Oh no, you're good. What are you about to say?
Two things. One, Avery, that was some bullshit of him just putting you on the spot. Okay, let's just call it out. I DM him and say, hey, you want to make this bet? Like, we don't it's not a duel. We're like, challenging each other live. But kudos for you for taking the bet live, not backing down. The strategy is interesting because I wasn't going to get caught dead wearing any Georgia gear singing this stupid song. So good for you, Avery, showing up in your colors. I like it. I like the approach.
Before we get into this, Avery, okay, and like I know how it is, with sports and with bets and these types of things. When Texas is getting its butt kicked against Georgia at DKR back in October, the bets secondary, third, way down the line in my train of thought. So I'm not worried about that. I was like, I'll deal with that when I get to it. But I do have to ask you, at what point in the game Saturday did you start to be like, crap, like this might be a reality. I actually might have to sing this song of theirs.
Okay. I did not reach that point until the game was over, because like partway through the 5th inning, I had to go to a work event where I couldn't be on my phone. Like I was sitting in the middle of mass. So there was no way for me to check my phone. So I thought, okay, surely this will help calm my nerves. It didn't. Sorry, I did say my prayers and apologize to God, because there's no way I was sitting through that without completely thinking about something else. And then by the time we got out, it was the bottom of the ninth. We were down 2 runs, I think. And I was sitting in the lobby of the event that I was having to coordinate people to get up to the floor that whatever we were on. And then I remember watching Hayden Shot pinch hit, and then we got down 1 run, and then we had 2 outs. I think it was TK who was back at the top of our lineup. And then we lost the game, unfortunately. So there was not a single point in the day in which I thought, oh yeah, I'm gonna have to sing this song. I pretty much lasted until the game was completely over that I recognized, yeah. So I am going to have to sing it. So I don't know if that's better or worse, but that's where I'm at. So call it what you want to call it, but I was there until the final inning because I truly believed that I would never have to sing this song. So now here I am.
Well, I
I have
mean,
memorized it and I am ready to go.
Well,
I know that I put you on the spot, and so I do apologize for that. But I also am willing to admit that I told you afterwards that I was like, I had no intention of making that bet. I had no intention of doing anything. It was just all spontaneity, and I wasn't super confident. I thought we'd win 2 games at most. And for what it's worth, if we were to play again down the line, with these 2 particular teams, I'm not offering a bet. I'm not doing it. I don't want any part of it. Don't ask me. If you want your revenge, you can wait. I wouldn't recommend next November though, because you're coming to us, and good luck. But let's get to it. All right. So John Avery had volunteered very graciously to go a cappella here with the Eyes of Texas to I'm kidding. John kind of I hadn't even entertained that. I'll give my guess. I'll be nice. We'll ask Avery. Avery, would you like music or no music while you sing the Eyes right here?
If John plays the guitar, I will sing along. If not, we're playing the Spotify version because that's all I learned.
I mean, it's kind of hard not to want John on the guitar after that. John, if you're wanting to, you rip it. If you want music, we'll do music.
all right.
I'm gracious.
All right, I'll do the guitar. Let me just pull up. I just need one chord change here. I can't believe I'm gonna do this. What are we doing, Avery? Like, we can just my internet's about to go out. Like, we can just end this.
No, I think I have strep throat, so we can both cancel.
No, we're gonna do this. All right. All right, let's do this. We're gonna do. All right, I'll play the guitar.
We're doing it. We're doing it.
Avery, I don't know what key you sing this in. I don't know what key I sing it in. I've
I
literally
don't know
never sung
keys,
this.
period. So let's just go for it.
All right, here we go. The eyes of Texas are upon you.
Come on, Avery.
The live long day.
The eyes
of Texas are upon you. You cannot get away.
Do
You think you can escape them in the night or early in the morning. The eyes of Texas are upon you
till Gabriel blows his horn. We're all over the place. The guitar made that. We had to have that guitar. John, incredible effort. Avery, his first wager on Twitter or on YouTube. I'm proud of you. You brought it. You weren't scared of it. Yeah, Avery was not happy in those moments, and I can't wait go frame for frame to break down the facial expressions there. John, I mean, you've got a great pace. You didn't get too sped up. I told y'all before, Texas fans, they struggle. We struggle to be on the correct pace with the band and everything. Of course, you do have a guitar in your hand. That does help. But give them a 1 out of 10, guys. Give them 1 through 10, somewhere in there. I'm at like a solid 6.9. Like we'll go 6.8. There's a lady here.
Damn.
That was solid. I'm impressed. I really was. We finished in 3 different spots, which is my fault, as I came in as well at the end. But you know, I loved it. I couldn't be more pleased. I won't clip that at all until tomorrow morning. Not tonight. We'll stay off it tonight. So
clip it whenever you want, brother. Here's what I'll say, Avery. Since you were at Mass when all this is going down, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted. And so like just keep the faith. It's gonna be okay. But you did an excellent job. You have an excellent voice. Cord, excellent voice. I mean, dude, hidden talent over here. So I think, we just all three just do this, every now and then with a different song for sure. But I enjoyed that. I personally enjoyed that. It was great.
You want to sing Rocky Top together?
I just threw my mouth a little bit.
No, this is like Katy Perry.
This is Avery's personal hell. Okay.
No, this is like
Rocky
Katy
Top.
Perry, Luke Bryan, and Lionel Richie.
I'm awful singing, and I think the guitar masks something. I don't know if you were being facetious, John, but I'm going to take a compliment. But just know, don't expect that if we were to do this again.
Just take the compliment, man. Just take the compliment.
But I do have a question, and now that we're kind of on this, and we brought up Rocky Top, I need an answer from you two both on this. What's you can't pick your own school. Your favorite fight song in the land? I mean, I feel like y'all are nerds like me as far as, a little bit of college football band, nerd out for the band some. I've got a few. I could probably talk for like 20 minutes about it, but curious on what y'all have.
I'll let you go first, Avery.
I'm going to be real. I would love to be in Death Valley when they sing Neck.
That's a good one.
Like unsolicited, like no censor.
That's a good one. Yeah, it is quite the it's quite the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite the experience.
Like it has to be 100 or none. That's the thing.
I've watched those YouTube videos and TikToks a time or 10,000. It's cool. I mean, it is what it is. Language is what it is.
Like if I was wearing my A&M jersey, I don't know if I'd make it out unscathed, but that's still going to be my answer for now.
More than fair. Neck is solid. What do you got, John?
I'm gonna be that dude. It is glory, glory to old Georgia, because like when you're especially 2022, Tennessee comes into Athens ranked number 1. They were just ranked number 1 in the college football playoff rankings. Georgia's defending national champion, undefeated, got bumped from number 1 to number 2 in the initial college football playoff rankings. And Tennessee comes in there, and third quarter, pouring rain. Stadium is full, not a single soul left. And the band, everything covered. They fired up "Glory, Glory to Old Georgia," and there's a part where whoever you're playing, it's like "To hell with Tennessee, to hell with Georgia Tech," and it's the loudest I've ever heard. It's like "To hell with Tennessee," and that whole thing like rained down on you. That's mine. But I will say, like, if I didn't have to pick my own team, I think I would have never thought of Neck, but I think now that you said it, that's probably it.
I wouldn't have said Neck either. And now I'm like, oh, I mean,
yeah, that's probably it. Yeah,
I like Hell to the Victors a lot. I think Hell to the Victors is pretty elite. You got to be good. You can't be gross and have Hell to the Victors, kind of like Texas Fight, because I mean, they get played a ton. Boomer Sooner, like when Oklahoma's bad, that poor band, they're still going to play it 276 times a game, because there's only 2 words to it's like 3 total words in the lyrics to Boomer Sooner. Like they got to blow through it really fast and do it over and over and over again. It's a lot easier when when they're decent. But for me personally, it is Rocky Top. Rocky Top is cool, and fans at Neyland get into it. Sorry, George, John.
Still going mouth a little bit.
I mean, another personal rival. You don't like them, but
you know what? One that's underrated fight song, because it's not really. I mean, it's a fight song for the team, but it's also just like the song of the unit. But Anchors Away with Navy, like when they're singing Anchors Away, like because they, because that's just the situation, that Navy Army game when they're like singing that. That's a good one too.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I mean, if our neighbors to the east weren't just like singing about us and swaying, I think the swaying is kind of cool. To be honest, I posted some cool videos of our team and A&M both taking the field, and there was the A&M singing all the songs about, or all the lyrics about us, and then Texas flooding out on the field. It felt good. The nostalgia hit. It was good to be back, but I still can't say I like your fight song, to be fair. And I'm really glad that I didn't have to sing it here. So if anyone's just tuning in, Avery and John, roughly 5 minutes ago, they sang the act for Texas, John on guitar, and slayed it, to be honest. So, but with that being said, I want to move on. I've had my fun. Thank you both for being very, very cool about it all, and the effort that you gave was optimal. So we're going to go on. We're going to talk a little bit about A&M baseball real quick, Miss Avery, and I'm not trying to rub it in. I'm really not. But when you look at LSU this weekend, you look at how big of a series it is. You'd think the boys, a lot of experience there. They get back up on their feet, and do expect a big weekend out of A&M. Do they win this series, essentially, is what I'm asking. No wagers, nothing, no funny business. How are we feeling?
I think this past weekend, because you take away this past weekend and all you have to look at is probably South Carolina, Tennessee, Arkansas, completely different team than you saw play in Austin. And I think emotion played a lot into that. And I think I had said before this series that you either take emotion and you run with it and you come together as a team and it makes you stronger, or it kind of breaks you apart. And I think a lot of it kind of weighed on us in a way that was negative. And I'm not saying that we played terribly. I mean, we lost every game by 1 run. So it's not like we got blown out in Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, but it wasn't the way that we wanted to play, and it wasn't the way that we played the past few weekends. Coming into this upcoming weekend, LSU is maybe the hottest team, aside from y'all, in the conference. I mean, they didn't sweep Tennessee, but they won 2-1, I think. And they run-rolled Tennessee on Sunday, so they're definitely not shy of knowing how to play baseball. I think we just have to take it objectively, and I think we have to take the emotion from this past week and completely throw it aside. Like, we played the Mar on Tuesday. That was already emotional enough. Michael early got ejected from that game. He's back on Friday, as far as I've heard, so hopefully that's true and that does not change from what I've seen. But I think we need to win this weekend, 2-1 at least. If we lose, okay, no, actually, I'm not even going to. No, I'm not getting into that. We're gonna win this series. It's just we have to, the emotion of it all, I think, has played into a lot of, Jay Slavulette especially has not been on top of his game. I think anyone who watches college baseball knows that Jay Slavulette is probably a top 10 player in the country, and he hasn't been playing that way recently. So I think he really just is in his own head more than anything else. So I'm excited. I will be there on Friday. So if I have anything to do with it, we will win this game. I obviously don't really have anything to do with it, so it doesn't really matter. But
cheer hard.
I will do my best.
No, you can. So LSU was, what were they, like 6 outs away from losing the opening game to Tennessee?
Oh, they were down 3-0 in the bottom of the ninth. Yeah.
And then the fan threw the ball on the field.
Oh yeah,
And got ejected. And
toss them.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden they had the rally. So you could play a part if you're there and the team is losing late in the game, throw something on the field, get ejected. Who knows?
If we are down bottom of the ninth, I will throw myself on the field. I will Like there is not something that I will not do to make this happen, because we are at a point in the season where every single game in the conference counts. So I don't know. I don't know everything about baseball, okay? I'm not going to say that I am the most knowledgeable person, but I would like to think we can win 2 out of 3 this weekend, especially being at home, because that is huge. I think Olsen Field is a huge advantage to have. And I think coming off of Tuesday, we have a couple of guys. I think we have Caden Sorrell and Ben Royo. Ben Royo, who came out of left field, I think for a lot of people who are super hot. And I think there are a couple other guys who can get their rhythm coming back. I think we just have to dig deep into LSU's bullpen because they are not short of good pitchers. I'll leave it at that. I will leave it at that.
I mean, I'll be honest. I think you hit the baseball a lot better this weekend. I think that a few guys pressed a little bit over last week on both teams, because it's not like, I mean, it's 3 1-run games. We didn't hit the ball great either. Sunday was what it was. I mean, the best we hit, but still a couple long balls in there was what carried us as far as the numbers getting to what they were. Nash, he loves to play that. Who made the play in right field? Sorry, is this Pharrell? Yeah, okay. And then Jace too at center. I mean, A&M's got as good a defensive outfield as there probably is in college baseball right now, and I think we have a pretty dang good one. But let's move off of baseball for a little bit. I want to talk with John because Nash is here, and it just makes so much sense to go ahead and address this part. Yesterday on Twitter, for anyone watching this strictly on YouTube and doesn't do the Twitter stuff, I asked a question and said, what is the floor and what is the ceiling for the 2025 Texas Longhorns on the football field? And I'm going to have to be honest and give my answer in just a moment. I've been waiting until now to do so. And Avery, go ahead and you can talk some noise here in this if you like. But John came in with the what was your ceiling, John? All I remember is the floor, of course.
Okay, my ceiling was the CFP semifinals.
Okay.
I will say this. That was a little bit tongue in cheek because I typed my ceiling. I was going to type the ceiling was CFP, and then I was like, I'm just going to add semifinals just to, But I do think the ceiling for Texas is a national championship. Like I think Texas will have the talent on the defensive side of the ball, especially to win a national championship. That's if we're talking about the ceiling, being the best case scenario. I think Texas definitely has that ability this year. So I said CFP semifinals. I will say I think it is winning a national championship.
Okay, fair enough. I didn't even pay attention to that, to be honest, because I was concerned with just the other part. And so most people, I will say this, most people came in, people that don't like me, don't like Texas, people that I haven't talked to ever, and they were Georgia Tech fans or they were Arkansas fans. Everybody was right around, I say national title / undefeated season, or the floor being 2 losses. There were people that were coming in with 3 losses on occasion. I'd say, 10% or so. Hey, Avery, you're back. 10% of people or so would come in with 3 losses. And then my guy, John, came in, and Nash is not here. I wish he was. John came in with the 8-4 floor. John, before I share my opinion and my thoughts on our floor and ceiling, what are yours?
I mean, here's my thing. So when we're talking about ceilings and floors, it's very important to say it is a floor, right? So it's in my opinion worst case scenario. It's not a prediction of I think Texas 8-4. It's not a prediction of any of those things. But my thing that I think Texas is going to find out this year. Last year, Texas had a very distinct advantage. They did play Michigan early in the season at Michigan, but they had a distinct advantage. Avery, good, cool. But they had a distinct advantage of playing a lot of their toughest games at home. Now they lost to Georgia at home, but this season, I think a couple of things, right? So I think Arch Manning is going to be a great quarterback. But Arch Manning is going to get his first like real start at Texas at Ohio State in the Horseshoe. That is a game that Texas could lose. When I look at this schedule, I look at like, okay, you got to go to Ohio State right out of the gate. You could lose that game. You got to play at Florida, which Florida, with the way that they finished last season with DJ Lagway, assuming he's healthy, that team has built some momentum, and it is hard as hell to play in that swamp in early October, late September, early October. I mean, it's hot, it's humid, all those things. At Florida, you've got to go to Athens, right? So those are three games that I look and I'm like, those are potential losses for Texas. Then you throw in, Oklahoma. Like, who knows what's going to happen in that game? We saw it 2 years ago where it was like, no way Texas should have lost that game after, playing Alabama the way they did, all that stuff, and they ended up losing the game. So you got a rivalry game thrown in there. And when I start looking at the schedule, it's just those things. Like Texas A&M is another one. Like, again, not saying that Texas is going to lose it, but that is a game where you saw it last year. You had to go there and all the things, but it's like it's a rivalry game, and Texas A&M is going to be a decent football team under Mike Elko. So I look at this schedule and I look at the games that you have on the road, and so for me, that's where I go with 8-4. And I think, I would say for Georgia, just to clarify my stance, I think the floor for Georgia is 9-3. It might be 8-4 if they had to go play at Ohio State to start the year, right? But they don't. So Georgia doesn't have a big non-conference game like that, like they had Clemson last year to start last year. So I think for me, it's just hard to win on the road in this league, as Georgia found out last year, and I think Texas will find that out in some ways this year too.
I mean, and you're also just saying it's the floor. It's not your expectation.
No, I don't expect. I will say this out loud. I do not expect if Texas goes 8-4, I will be shocked.
Right,
but I won't be as shocked if the schedule was different, right? If you didn't start at Ohio State, like when I look and I see at Ohio State, at Florida, at Georgia, Texas A&M, the Red River Shootout thrown in there, like I won't be as shocked if Texas went 8-4. I will be shocked, but I would be shocked if Texas does go 8-4.
Yeah, I mean, same here. Obviously, I'm not gonna. That's the thing, and like being a realist, and I would get chastised for saying this on Twitter. I would get in so much trouble, but I don't hate it. I don't hate an 8-4 floor, because when you're talking about the level of, or the number of unproven players we have on offense, like I can see why people from outside the program, like a Billy Lucci or a John, might say like, hey, they might not simply reload the way that they think they will. Of course, I trust Steve with all my heart. We watched Charlie Strong and Tom Herman and do a lot less with not the talent that Steve has, because he's really at a top level, but with more than formidable talent to handle themselves in the Big 12. And so we've seen development, we've seen the recruiting, obviously the culture is strong, tons of buy-in. And so, and then personally getting to meet a lot of these families that are behind these kids, you know that they're doing things the right way. And so that's where my belief and my faith comes in, as far as in the stock into the program. It's just, does Texas lose on the road in the shoe to two brand new two brand new coordinators, a brand new quarterback? Texas has one too. Tons of turnover on the defensive side of the ball. Still have a Jeremiah Smith, but you lost two of your other stud receivers. They lose Tate, and who's the other one that I'm thinking of? Egbuka. They lost Egbuka, but is Tate still there?
He's still there. Carnell Tate's still there, yeah.
Okay, so Tate's still there, and
you got Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate are still there.
And so Texas against Ohio State, they did not let Jeremiah Smith beat them, obviously. You would have to think that's going to be in the plans again. So, John, I'm going to go ahead and say it again. I've said it on multiple shows. I don't know if you've heard me say it, but I, again, have Florida being a more difficult game for Texas. I'm more concerned with us losing that that game. So for anyone listening, sorry if I've said it, but I'm gonna say it all off season long, because a lot of people are gonna take it as a hot take, and I just believe in Texas and where we're at and the continuity of the coaching staff. We know who's going to be calling plays, even if sometimes we get frustrated. Defense, PK, obviously we trust him, coming off having one of the probably top 2 or 3 defenses in the country. So for me, yeah, like that's why I'm like, yeah, that the floor probably I would go with 9-3 because of all of those factors. And then I do believe that this offense is going to be significantly improved, especially in the run game. I think the legs of Arch Manning will add a new element to that offense. And then again, he likes to throw deep, and it seems to be just as accurate there as he is in the intermediate world, which credit again to Quinn. I'm not knocking him. He was really, really good in that range, but just talking football X's and O's. I mean, if you can take the top off the defense or your quarterback can run, now we're in the dual threat era. Almost anyone and everyone, is able to pick up yards or move the chains, with the feet. Avery, do you have any thoughts on a floor ceiling for Texas? I don't want to put you on the spot there. You don't have to be too mean. You don't have to get me back yet for the fact that you just saying the eyes of Texas. I didn't even make you. Did y'all hold up the horns though? Were your horns up?
He was doing it. She was doing it. I was playing the guitar. So
okay, you're a great sport. Oh, you might be muted. You're good. Take your time.
Okay, now you can hear me.
There you are.
I did hold my horns up, unfortunately. So if anyone clipped this episode, you could find me holding my horns up. So
did you do it like this, or did you have it turned like this?
No, I did it the right way. See?
Tried to bait you into doing it one more time.
Was like this. I don't know if I didn't see.
I know.
I didn't see you do it that way, but
no, I did, because if I owe you, I owe you, and I'm gonna do it the right way, and I'm not gonna shy away from it.
That was the bet. I'm sorry. I that was rude. I shouldn't have brought it up.
That was the bet. That was the bet, and I did it. See, I did full send it.
Well, let me ask you this, Avery. If you were a betting woman, would you bet on Texas to win over 10.5 football games next year, or under 10.5? Wait, no, it's 9.5. Sorry. Would you bet on Texas to win under 9.5 or over 9.5 games next year?
Over. I would bet on you winning over, because I'm either right, which makes me correct, and I'm a betting woman, so that would feel great, or I'm wrong, and I'd feel equally as great. So I really have nothing to lose. So yes, I think you'll have the roster to win over 9.5. But at the same time, if you don't, there's no hard feelings on my end. So
fair enough. I mean, me personally, I think the ceiling is a national championship. Obviously, I think there's a ton of, obviously, all the turnover in college football. Everybody is going to have inexperience at some spots for the most part. Seems like Penn State's doing a pretty good job. Got a ton returning, but Drew Allar late in the year winning playoff games. I don't know. We'll see when we get there. But all right, guys, I'm not going to keep y'all much longer. Anything else at all that y'all wanted to bring up? I just wanted to settle a bet and address, John's floor comment yesterday. Tell him it's fair.
I'll address my ceiling comment then, so as well, because I know my buddy Nash. Just before we get out of here, I know my buddy Nash had his issue with me saying the ceiling is the semifinals. I think Texas does have the talent. I think Texas will have the talent and the ability to win a national championship. But if I say that the ceiling is the semifinals, it's because of Steve Sarkisian. I do not believe in Steve Sarkisian just yet to win that game. And the reason being is because I saw him lose twice to Georgia, and I saw him have the talent and have the team to win in the semifinals. He almost got beat by Arizona State. Turned around, he had an opportunity. So until Steve Sarkisian gets over that hump, and it was the same thing for me, for the record. I still have this a little bit with Kirby Smart when it comes to Alabama. But it was the same thing, when Georgia was losing to Alabama, it was the same thing. There was this whole, can Kirby, get over this hump? And so Nash, okay, I'll go back to it just for you, Nash. Ceiling, semifinals.
I disagree. I just really and the thing is so you have to be so careful on how you talk about Quinn Ewers because people take it as an insult when you say even the slightly most it's not even controversial when it's just anything you say is controversial about Quinn. And so I'm going to be real with you. I think that part of your doubt with Steve Sarkisian comes from him being coupled with Quinn Ewers for the last 3 seasons and there being limits to what Quinn can do, and especially in certain spots. And hold on 1 second here. It's a late surprise. Very unexpected timing. I love that. Joshy, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I had a really good weekend. How was your weekend, Avery?
You know what? My weekend happened and it's over, so I'm not thinking about it anymore.
Well, that's okay. You know, I had to come and take my victory lap. I just felt like that was...
Take it. I'm sure you need it.
Are you gonna do 1 lap or 3? Because
maybe do 4.
Ahead.
That makes a mile.
Yeah. I mean, look, here's the deal. I think ultimately at the end of the day, we had a little bit of everything for the victory. On day 1, it was the Ruger day and Tommy Farmer with his first home run of the year. It was incredible. The bottom of the lineup showed up. Second, we had what? Oh, God, I can't remember. It's just been so good. Mm-hmm. I don't know. We won that one.
Mm-hmm.
The Ethan Mendoza game.
Mr. Mendoza. That is correct. Shout out to him and Mr. Mendoza Sr. And then Sunday was just the nice little icing on the cake. You know, I felt like the bats really came alive. I got to say, Caden Sorrell's a dog. That is the best player on your team, and I don't think it's particularly close. I will be completely honest with you. So, yeah, I feel great. So, victory lap accomplished. Sorry to derail the conversation.
We owed that to you. And, again, Papa Kyle couldn't make it, so I was like, well,
Well, Papa Kyle was too busy tweeting out some just horrendous shit. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Oh, man, that was classic. God, I hope he was watching right now because he's going to bite back. And to see how that plays out, I can't wait. That's going to take priority in my night. But, Josh, you owe that. You called it. You call a 3-0 sweep. I didn't think there was much of a chance at all, to be honest with you. I was very concerned A&M would win the series. And again, we had tipped enough on Monday. We paid a lot of respect to A&M. We really did. Mr. Mendoza, Nash, and myself said not one negative thing about them other than the silly bunt with first and third, no outs where they bunted down the first baseline. That's pretty elementary baseball. But outside of that, really positive. Tonight, you took it like a champ. You really did. Joshy, any other comments? I'll let you. The floor is still yours. If you have anything else you want to say, and we did sweep John, but listen, John, he's got a lot of bite back, so you be careful with him.
Well, also we needed to sweep Georgia because they were our dads for every fucking sporting event this year. So we needed to do
still are in every sport except for baseball. So.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, just wait until next year. So is this at the end of Around the Horn where I just get my
go for it?
Because I have one thing
I'll mute myself and just let you go.
I really want to get off my chest.
The
Quinn Ewers slander that's been going on in national media has been egregious, just egregious. You have a bunch of non-ball knowers saying, well, he made a mistake by going out and not taking any money at an $8 million blah, blah, blah. You know what? Some things are just more important than money. And for 5 years now, everyone in the sports media has been saying, well, you know what? Money's ruining the game. Money's doing this. Money's doing that. And all of a sudden, for the first time, someone doesn't take the giant paycheck. And what do? They shit on the kid. I hate the media. This is why everyone hates the media, but it's just despicable. I'm sick and tired of it.
You're right, though. The Quinn stuff is really, really dumb. Why they don't know where Quinn Ewers' head or heart is or what his family and their personal goals are. And so, but people just want to talk. I'm one of them. But that's that's really, really well said. I think that Quinn wanted to be a Longhorn for a really long time, and a lot of people are like, well, why didn't he just go there out of high school? Well, Tom Herman wasn't exactly in a great spot at Texas, and the offensive line was not in a good spot at all. And there was just a lot of negativity around the program at that time. I'm not going to get into all the extra stuff that was going on, but y'all can remember if you're a Longhorn, it sucked. All the drama, even about songs that we sang on this show tonight. But, he came back to Texas and gave Sark, a brand new coach, a chance after a 5-7 season. And, you've seen the Texas tattoos. Not that that's everything, but the guy's a Longhorn. So to make your point, it was always obvious to me that he would not transfer. I thought that was fool's gold. Said as much as that. But John, any thoughts? Quinn Ewers, media?
No, I think the media stuff with Quinn Ewers, to Josh's point, is ridiculous. Like, I think Quinn Ewers, he also, people don't talk about anymore that the kid reclassified. I mean, he signed, a $1.5 million NIL deal with Ohio State. At the end of the day, it is, the kid he's not sitting there looking at $36 in his bank account and making a decision between more money to play in college or to go in the NFL. Like, I mean, the kid has money, so we can be straight about that in terms of, and I think the media should be straight about that in terms of like, hey, the kid made a lot of money in NIL in college. And so, but I agree. The main point with Joshy is like, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't in this environment. If you stay in college and you take the money, then it's like, trying to colleges dry of money, and like, you're 25 years old, go, get your 401k together, whatever. Like, you hear all that. If you decide, hey, I'm going to go to the draft, and then you end up like dropping in the draft and, whatever, then it's all of a sudden, oh, you should have stayed in college and took the money. It makes no sense whatsoever in terms of these players are making the decisions that they feel give them the best opportunity to live. Let's be clear about this, to live dreams that they have had for a long time. And sometimes that works out for a kid, and sometimes it doesn't work out the way that they thought. But at the end of the day, you don't get many of these chances. And you also, let's say Quinn Ewers, I don't think in any world that Quinn Ewers was going to get an NIL deal worth $8 million or whatever some of these, like, some of these media folks are throwing around. That was not going to happen. But let's say he took a deal for $4 million or whatever. At the end of the day, if you go do that and you get hurt, something happens, and also you still end up the next year like dropping in the draft, I don't think, and this sounds ridiculous as someone who grew up dirt poor in Rome, Georgia, sharing a bedroom with my two brothers. It sounds ridiculous to say I don't think $3 to $4 million is gonna like be a game changer for Quinn Ewers, but I don't think it would be. Like, I don't think coming back to college for a $3 to $4 million NIL deal would be a game changer for Quinn Ewers if he wants to be an NFL quarterback, right? And so that's the thing. You just got to be real with it. The dude, you can say both. You can say he made a lot of money in college. He's sitting on a lot of money. This is his chance to go live his dream. And yeah, it didn't work out like he thought it was going to be. But you can't turn around and then say you gave up all this money, because also he still may make all that money. I mean, backup quarterbacks make a ton of money in the NFL if you can. You go to camp, you go to your OTAs, you have good workouts, you show your football IQ, you make a roster, you do the Chase Daniel thing. Like, for God's sakes, like Chase Daniel has made literally 40-something million dollars, like holding a clipboard. So at the end of the day, that's not what Quinn Ewers wants to do. But like, all these media types are like, oh, you gave up, $4 million or $3 million. I mean, shit, that's Quinn Ewers is going to be, if he doesn't make it in the NFL, he's going to be, some, advisor in some financial services firm is going to make a shit ton of money anyway. I don't think Quinn Ewers has to worry about money, is my take. He's trying to live his dream. And again, he did what he did what he wanted to do, or he didn't win what he wanted to win, but he did what he wanted to do as a Texas Longhorn in terms of being a starting quarterback, learning under Sark, turning the team around, bringing hope back to Austin. And why would you do that as a Texas kid and then transfer to UCLA? Like, well, where's he going to go? Like, where are you going to go? And then now you've just thrown out all that goodwill that you built up in Austin too, which again, knowing money in Texas, that goodwill that you built up in Austin is going to be worth that $3 or $4 million you would have gotten to go to USC or wherever you were going to go anyway. So that's a long-winded answer to say I agree with Josh. Media is ridiculous on all this stuff.
And hold on real quick. I don't want you to think, Joshy, like I was when I'm talking about Quinn and him limiting, what we've seen out of Sarkisian. I'm saying that there's a possibility of the injuries. I mean, because think how many times Quinn was injured or missed time, and then he played. We just saw he played the whole year injured. And that's not a negative knock on Quinn when I say that. I don't want it to sound like I'm slandering. I do have opinions on Quinn Ewers in Texas, but most of it is around the fans and how you're not allowed to say much about it without it being a big deal. Quinn had very, very, very bad games at Texas. It's okay to say that, without being a Quinn hater. And then there are moments where he was really, really dang good. And it's also okay to say Quinn was nowhere close to his ceiling, and it's because of injuries. Not injuries maybe alone, but injuries played a big part in it. Also, we talked about it when Quinn got here, but this is a guy that enrolled in college early. Forewent his senior year of high school to go to Ohio State. And then he took 3 game snaps that year, which he handed the ball off 3 times. Before his junior year of high school, he was hurt and missed time. His sophomore year was hurt and missed time. So football reps, and game reps, those are really, really important. And he did miss a lot of time. So that's where I think, and I pick on the people that hop on the Quinn haters, and it's not hopping on the Quinn haters. I think the Quinn haters got to be just more respectful of what Quinn did, considering where he was at. And he had a lot of growth, a lot of development to make, and he did. And you got to feel really bad for him that he got into this really, really big season, and he had the labrum injury really, really early. And to me, it was quite obvious. That's why Texas didn't attack downfield as much, because you have guys like Matthew Golden, and even though Isaiah Bond was hobbled half the year, you still have plenty of weapons to attack with downfield. And that's why I'm still in on Steve. I mean, obviously we're way in on Steve, but I don't want to sound like a Quinn hater. I think Nash sometimes thinks I am. Nash has a lot to say about this. We're going to have a whole other show to get Nash on here. So Nash and John and anyone can discuss Quinn Ewers, because you could talk forever, man. And you can point to some really good games, really big throws. But then you have to look at the Wyoming games and the Georgia games and yada, 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 yada. So that's a debate that will never end.
It's Jake Fromm, like the equivalent at Georgia is Jake Fromm.
You called him what?
What?
You called him what? You called Quinn Jake Fromm? That hurts a little.
The situation is equivalent to a Jake Fromm, where Jake Fromm, Georgia fans chastised Jake Fromm because he left. Jake Fromm left a year early, and then dropped in the draft. And everybody's like, "Oh, you should have come back," whatever. But Jake Fromm also never has to buy a drink in Athens ever again, because he as a freshman, he played in a national championship, but then he had those situations where you lost to LSU on the road. Like he would lose games that you were just like, what is happening? But at the end of the day, the guy, it laid the table for what came after him, because you had a guy who he fought through injuries. He did what he had to do. He represented the brand well. And then the teams that came after him were set up better because of what he brought to the table as the quarterback of the team. And what he did at Georgia was under Kirby Smart, but it's he proved oh, you can actually win at Georgia. You can actually we could actually compete at the highest level, compete for SEC championships, win an SEC championship, play for a national championship. You can do these things. And so it's certainly not even in the same realm in terms of quarterback or talent or any of that stuff. But the equivalent for me is that scenario, because people will say the same thing. They'll say Jake Fromm should come back for another year, but then I guarantee, but Jake Fromm, again, he never has to buy another drink in Athens. He's a legend in Athens. He's everybody, he's a guy that people really respect, and the draft stuff will definitely be forgotten about a year from now, no matter what. But all the stuff that Quinn did for Texas is going to be remembered for a long time.
I
Can
will
I
say
ask
that
a question
Quinn.
on
Go
that?
ahead.
Yeah, sorry, and this may just go off
Yeah.
onto another one, but with all this Quinn, just with this Quinn slander, it almost seems to me like what this is going to do is you're going to have 9 or 10 quarterbacks go into the draft every single year, and then what's going to end up happening is the rest of them are going to do basically musical chairs. Okay,
Mhm.
so what's stopping the Nico situation that just happened this year from exploding and being a normal thing going on from here on out, just because of what happened with in this particular situation with Quinn? Because I think I don't think it's a one-off.
It happened before that. It happened with Carson Beck at Georgia because Carson Beck declared for the draft, and then Miami was like, "We'll pay you." I mean, he didn't officially file the paperwork, but he posted like, "Thanks Georgia for everything. I'm going to the draft, whatever." And then like 2 days later, Miami paid him, $3 million, $4 million, whatever it was, to come be the quarterback at Miami. So it happened even before the draft. Like it happened with guys who were like, I'm going to the draft. And then a school comes in and says, how about you come here and we'll write you a big check. And then agents and everybody like say, yeah, you should go do that. And so I think the situation, what has to happen, and it'll happen at some point, but you have to move to some level of like salary caps or some level of investment in rosters, or actual like contracts will fix it a lot, because contracts will force a team to say with the quarterback, hey, are you gonna, I'm under contract with Georgia for, for this year or whatever. Both parties have the opportunity to say, yeah, I want to renew the contract. If the team doesn't want to, then it's like, oh yeah, you go find somewhere else. But what I think will happen is you'll have, especially the quarterback position, you're probably going to end up having like multi-year contract situations where it is like, okay, you can leave to go to the draft, or you can leave and go to another team, but there's like a buyout, or there's going to be some incentive to like, if you're going to make this move, it's going to cost you, player, something. Because right now it doesn't cost the player anything. It costs the school a lot to make a decision like Carson Beck, where it didn't cost Carson Beck anything in terms of, I declare for the draft. Oh no, now I'm going to go to Miami. That's what's going to have to happen. I think when you have, and I also think like you do have to have, I do think this, I call it salary cap because that's the best equivalent, but some kind of a regulation where, I mean, I'm like, dude, like make it a cap. You can spend this much on your roster, and if you go over, do the luxury tax thing. It's like, dude, yeah, that's fine. If Texas wants, if the cap is 20 million and Texas wants to spend 25, that's fine. But they're going to pay a luxury tax and build some nutrition centers in the MAC. It's like what's, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
but there has to be a thing where the team, the schools with money that can spend it, if they're going to spend more, significantly more than other schools, then there's some level of like, yeah, you can do that, but like you're going to pay, something for that. And I think like if you start moving to that kind of stuff, then I think that'll stop all this musical chairs. But contracts will be, to me, contracts are the biggest thing. It's like, dude, yeah, have them come in. Yeah, we'll give you an NIL deal, but you're going to sign a 2-year deal. So, and if you want to get out of it, that's fine. But like, this is what the buyout's going to be for you to get out of it. So UCLA with Nico would have to pay Tennessee, or pay Nico so Nico can pay Tennessee or whatever that is. But you're going to have some of those situations. But that's a good question. That's the craziest thing for me right now, though, is that scenario with Nico, like where you have a quarterback. I like the transfer in the spring much better than the if they were in the playoffs, and he entered the transfer portal, right? Like, because that is still a real possibility. There's a real possibility there will be teams that are in the college football playoff, and some team will swoop in and be like, hey, we'll pay you $3 million to come play for us. And like, what do you do in that scenario if you're in a college football playoff? But still, to go all the way through a spring practice, get to the last week of a spring practice, and then all of a sudden do like a holdout situation, hold your team hostage, and then some other team pay you to leave. Like, that's crazy. It doesn't happen in the NFL. It doesn't happen anywhere. They have very specific windows where these things can happen. and they have contracts and all this stuff, and so that to me is insane.
You gotta have contracts. You gotta have some type of, like you said, player has to face some type of not reprimand, but they can't just transfer all over the place willingly. Walter Nolan bouncing around, other players that have been at multiple schools every single year. It's not fun for the fans. I can't imagine it's any fun whatsoever for the coaching staffs. They've have to hate their life at times, but it is what it is for now until they have some type of standard or contract set in place. I mean, I don't see it changing, Joshy. I think that, obviously it's not a one-off. You're going to have multiple people involved and they're going to be tampered with. There's got to be something that holds these guys in place for just a little bit longer. And, they're not so easily influenced to just slide around. But, I am all for a roster change. Just because of the way that coaching staffs are, and they have quite free reign to go anywhere and everywhere and at the drop of a hat. But
it's all contractually driven too, right? It's like Kirby Smart can't just tomorrow decide, oh, I'm going to leave Georgia and go take a job in the NFL without paying Georgia a significant amount of money, a lot of money. And I'll also say just real quick, I think it is, I think this whole thing to me is just Kirby Smart, speaking of, has summed it up like really well. All he said was, I'm all for players getting paid. I just want to know who's going to be on my roster next year. And I need to know it like before this time. Like for him, it's just like, I don't care. Like college coaches are getting that way now where they're like, okay, we don't care if you leave. Like, we don't care if you leave to go get paid more money somewhere. But at some point, there has to be a point where it says, this is my roster and these guys can't leave. So that's a contract or, some type of like lock in, because coaches also, to your point, Cord, like coaches also influence players leaving. So it's not just coaches having free reign to leave, but dude, they're pushing players out all the time. It's been done all the time.
Sorry, Bert.
I think a contract is like, in a contract scenario, the team has the option to like re-sign you to the next year, and you have the option to like re-sign as well. And if either party decides they don't want to, or both parties, then like it's clear this person is not going to be on the roster for whatever reason. I think it also brings a lot of accountability to coaches too, because like, oh yeah, Carson Beck wanted to come back to Georgia, and Kirby Smart said no. Like, Georgia didn't want to re-sign him. Like, those are the things that I think will help both parties make better decisions. Avery, what do you think about contracts in college football?
I agree. Yes, I'm excited to hear this.
Wake up.
Oh, I'm awake. I've been here the whole time.
I wanted to hear your voice again because you got these three blowhards like talking over you the whole time.
We are easily at a point in college football where the NCAA is not going to make a change in what is happening. It is way too far gone for them to ever step in, because if a change was going to happen, it was already going to happen. Once they made the regulation that players could be paid, they were going to be paid, and there wasn't going to be anything to do about it. And it became almost like a free agency at this point. And I think a player like Quinn Ewers, like, I am an Aggie through and through, but you are not going to find a player like Quinn Ewers in this day and age. Like, that is so rare to find some guy who will play for you, who will ride or die for you, play for you as long as he can, and then decide, this is my dream to play football, because he could have easily played at another school and probably made more money in NIL than he did to be on an NFL roster and fight for a spot. But he didn't come to Texas with a spot guaranteed to him either. He knew he had to fight for a spot in Texas the same way he's going to have to fight for a spot at Miami. And that is the exact kind of player you want on your team. And that is just not the guy that you're going to find anymore. That is super rare. So, as much as it pains me to say, like, I am rooting for him at Miami, because that is the kind of guy you want on your team.
Longhorn.
A guy who is going to play the sport that he grew up loving, aside from the paycheck. Like, at this point, the NCAA has nothing to do with it. It's going to have to literally be Congress, the government, who has to step in, because it is way too far gone. Like, I grew up an A&M fan. Like, I grew up watching Johnny Manziel. Like, to be the guy that Johnny Manziel was freshman year and for him to come back his sophomore year, like, I was 10 years old, and that was life-changing for me. I didn't even know what that meant at that point, but I was just, like, ready to ride or die for him as, like, an 11-year-old girl who barely knew anything about football. So I think that is very, especially right now, that is very rare. So to see any guy who's willing to come back to their school, especially with the stuff that's going on with Nico, especially with the trading that's going on. Nico goes to UCLA, UCLA's transfer quarterback commits to Tennessee. It's a whole domino effect. Like, it's way too far gone for me at this point to, like, offer any suggestions, but I'm going to say that if you have a guy like Quinn Ewers at your helm, like, I think he was severely underrated at Texas for the pure sake of him being willing to play for the sake of loving his school and not for the paycheck. And I think that is going to be harder and harder and harder to find as the years go on. So we will continue as the years go on. I go to A&M, so I will ride or die for Marcel Reed. Like, he didn't have to stay here either. He could have gone not wherever he wanted to go, but he could have gone anywhere. So I think that is a very solid trade to have in this day and age, because right now it truly is. There's no regulation. You can straight up just pay a guy to come to your school. Like, as much as it's not in the rule book, like, there's way too many stipulations and ways to get around it for you to be like, okay, you know what I'm talking about. At this point, I don't even know what I'm saying. But
Avery, I'm going to be real. I haven't heard a word you said since you said you were 10 years old when Johnny Manziel played at Texas A&M. I feel 90 years old right now.
Bad.
So, Ford, you got to
Bad.
let me know when there are kids on this show, man. I've been dropping language and all kinds of stuff. So
I mean, yeah. What I don't know what she's talking about after that. Same thing. I just kind of remembered where I was when I watched Manziel beat Alabama, and I remember how old I was and things I was up to in those times. And it's just like, yeah, I feel bad that she's on here with at least me and John. I don't know, still getting to know Joshy a little bit, but feeling he's probably like us too. So, Avery, thanks for putting up with us. I'll just say that. 10 years old watching Manziel. That's pretty wild. I wish I'd have been 10 years old watching Manziel, because the next like 8 years, 9 years of Texas football probably wouldn't have hurt as much as it hurt me. But it is what it is. I'm going to go ahead and apologize all you guys in the comments. My comments got stuck at the very top of the feed. I thought Nash's comment about like 45 minutes ago was the last comment of the show. I was kind of like, dang, comments kind of died. No one, is anyone out there? And so big apology, but really appreciate you guys all being there.
Shaking his fist at the sky the entire time, typing vigorously, and you've just been ignoring him. So,
well, I am very sorry, Nash. Not calling you out. I am sorry, Giggle Bart. Appreciate you being here. Y'all go like the video if you haven't done it yet. Subscribe to the channel. Josh or John, last time you were here, or like 2 or 3 times ago you were here, we went over 500 subs like the day that you were coming on. Today we went over 600. So what are you doing tomorrow? Let's get 7 and just keep it going. But no, appreciate you guys paying attention to all this mess. We're just goofing around. Avery, talking to you too, but no, really, y'all watching this. Nash, we don't hate you, man. I had a full house. Kyle was supposed to be here because he wanted to come on after the A&M game for a while. We'll get him back, let him talk his trash. And then we had to let Joshy rub in the 3-0 clean sweep. And that's no more trash talk. I'm done.
Well, I will say this. Thanks for having me on. Avery, you know ball. Loved hearing you talk about Texas A&M baseball. Loved your thoughts on Quinn Ewers. There might be a little bit of burnt orange down in there, a little bit the way you're talking about Quinn. Joshy, loved your thoughts about Quinn as well. Cord, change your clothes next time. Like, there's no need to come with what you wore to work onto the show. You can take a shower and like be presentable. It's your show, dude. So let's just level up a little bit. Appreciate y'all. Had a great time.
Final words, Joshy, Miss Barham.
You go ahead, Avery.
Okay. No, I'll go for it. No. Look, the weekend happened the way it happened. Is that how I wanted it to go? No. But we have to move on because we've got to win a fair amount of games to get into the postseason. And I think it's fair to say that if our baseball team was to end up in any of y'all's regionals, you would not be super excited about it. So we will continue the way that we continue to play baseball. And I think we will take our emotion in a different direction, is what I hope. And football is not until August. So I'm going to hold my opinions. Oh my God. Am I muted?
No,
Why
you're
is it
good.
saying I'm
You're
muted?
good.
Okay.
You're good.
I'm going to take my opinions about football and hold them until August. For now, it's baseball season, and we will move the way that we move. I pray for my livelihood that we win the series against LSU. Until then, I'm not going to say anything good about any other football team. I've already said way too much about Quinn Ewers, so
Fair
we're
enough.
going to leave it at that.
All right, Joshy, you got the moment.
Yeah, this is the year of Joshy. Kid on the way. Texas in the Final Four in football and whatever, 39-5 in baseball. I mean, look, at some point it's going to turn up right for me in terms of getting the national championship. I'm not going to say it's going to happen this year, but I'll fucking say it. Let's go. 2025, 2026, we're going to get one.
That's football? We're getting a football title? What I mean,
We're getting one. We're getting one.
Okay.
2025, 2026, we're getting one. And it's in one of the major revenue sports. All right, I hope Durag Aggies here because he's going to clip me again, and then we're going to go through the same exercise all over again in 10 months.
Not
that we
showing
did this
up
last weekend. I know he's not.
He's not showing up here tonight for the
Avery's about to pull out her cross and ward off these bad demons that she feels are coming at her.
All right, everybody. One more horns up since we've all been there tonight at least once. Come on, Avery. There you go. Oh, that's tough. That's a bad look. That's poor sport, poor form. Just kidding. Thank you guys very much for being the guests that you always are. Joshy, thanks for coming on here and have some fun, even if we got you in a little bit late, man. So I definitely wanted you to get on here and having fun. Hey, Lounge, you got something to say about Texas Hoop? Sean Miller's coming, buddy. We're cooking in the portal, brother. Go check out those standings in the portal. That's what I'm living on right now because I'm worried. I'm curious how it all fits. Just like last year.
Lounge is ready for state to hire Max Wiener.
He just fired their baseball coach, and their football team was like 2-50 this year. What is he talking about?
They'll be back.
I will say, Lounge will never say they'll be back in football, but baseball, he's pretty excited right now.
I don't know.
It's coming. I can guarantee you they're about to make a good hire.
I'll say this about my buddy Lounge real quick. I went to Starkville. If you've never been to Starkville to get a baseball series at Duty Noble Field, it's the best experience I've ever had. Maybe at a rival stadium, whatever, like football, basketball, everything. It was great. When I was there, Lounge, the man walks the walk and talks the talk because he said, I looked over and I saw the hump, right? Humphrey, their basketball arena. And Lounge said, yeah, they should just tear that down and expand the baseball stadium. So this man does not care. He's ready to tear down the basketball arena and expand the baseball field. He cares about one thing.
Holy, Josh got the heavy fingers. God.
Had to learn how to type like that, man. You got to get that.
You literally turned into that Jim Carrey.
He was the GIF. He's the GIF.
So there's this one girl who I had in law school who her camera was at the bottom of her computer. Like, I don't know how, and it would look up and you'd just see her fingers just going like this for 45 minutes. It was incredible.
Awesome.
That's great, man. I'm going to have to clip that part too. But all right, guys, I've got to get out of here. Thank you all for being here. Everyone watching again, if you haven't liked and subscribed, do that. Lounge, you have a good one, man. No late night macaroni for you. Take care of yourself all right out there. We'll see you.